was known as somebody who's really trying to encourage youth to attend or at least explore their faith and their Christian umbrella. I no longer do that activity, although I encourage everyone to explore faith and come together with humanity and consciousness, as it were. And it's been a difficult journey in the city. But I want to really commend the youth in this university that I've had a relationship with and touched of Israeli and Palestinian backgrounds that come together here and have events that help this one to come together, I'm sure. And I just want to encourage those who have funds in the city to give them some more, to make sure that these kinds of coming together, this kind of dialogue continues to happen in the future on a really regular basis. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Just a bit of a backbencher question here. So back here. So as a backbencher, I'm just going to ask a bit of a loaded question to you. I know that you've answered a number of questions here by saying that you're a historian, but I think that you are a historian who has a very unique perspective on the Palestinian-Israeli issue. And I want to ask you, as a historian, what would be your vision for Palestinian-Israeli relations in future years? What's your vision for a future Palestine?
Well, my basic vision is a great hope that one day Israelis and Palestinians would live in the same state and would share that state on an equal basis. I think we already live in one state, but I don't think that we have equal rights and we share the same state as we should. I'll tell you that as an historian, I cannot prepare political programs for the future. I would leave it for some other people to do that. But I can sort of, like anyone else, state my principles and my guidelines. And I always talk about 3 A's as principles from which I would like to extract, in the end of the day, a vision. And the first A is acknowledgement. I think that as long as Israel would not acknowledge what it had done to the Palestinians in 1948 and since 1948, there will be no peace and no solution. Second A is accountability. I think Israel has to be accountable. And I think the best way of being accountable is to at least accept in principle the Palestinian refugees' right of return. I mean, I would go further than that myself, but at least I would expect the political elite to do that. I don't think it will happen in the near future, but I would hope it will. And the last A is really a request and demand, in a way, from the Palestinians, the Arab world, the Muslim world, is to accept the presence of the Jewish community in Israel and Palestine as a legitimate part of the Middle East, its problems and its solutions.
I am at your 10 o'clock, so I thought I would identify my location by a way of a manly way. 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
You don't use that in the UK, probably.
Luckily, there is a
Everybody already knew where
Is
I was.
it 10 o'clock? That looks like something out of the watch. Anyway.
Locate myself.
Okay.
They only understand it in North America.
Okay.
First, thank you very much for reminding me of what I studied back in Arabia when I was a kid. Deir Yassin and Kaf Qasim and all of these things that I didn't hear about for the longest of times. Thank you for reminding me of all of these. Maybe you mentioned one thing that was new to me today, but not to underestimate your lecture. It was very valuable. I do have one question, and I hope that your answer is not going to be religion. Why do we care that much about the Israeli-Palestinian, I'm going to use conflict, but it's not necessary.
Okay.
Why do we care much about it? Why does the 3 people running for US president and the biggest showdown this year, even bigger than the Olympics in November, why is the first thing that they have to say is that we are all pro-Israel? Why do we have to be occupied by this situation in the Middle East the way that we are occupied by it today? I understand the suffering. I am, as I mentioned, I am an Arab. I feel for the Palestinians and I feel for the Israelis that are losing some of their brothers and sisters and daughters and sons. But why is the world, and the West especially, so occupied by this that the US basically defines who is a good candidate to be president by that? I bet if McCain or Obama said that they don't care, not just that they are pro-Israel, if they just say, we don't care about the situation in the Middle East, their chances of becoming president are zero. Is it oil? Because oil is now at what, more than $100 a barrel? And Saudi Arabia and the rest of the Gulf are good allies of the US. Israel is not there, I think, for oil. What is the reason? And I'm not a big fan of conspiracy theory, so I don't think that the Israeli lobby in the US is that powerful. I think it's a genuine interest from the US and the West in Israel. And I'm just keeping to wonder what it is. Is it really because it is, as mentioned in Christian literature, that it's going to be the land where Jesus is going to return from? I really hope that you're going to answer with something else.
I really like your style. You asked 5 questions and you answered them, so what do you want me to say? No, seriously. I would just say that you are right to define the West and not the world. I don't think it's true about the world at large, but the West has very good reasons to find Israel and Palestine as a focal point. This is the place where Christianity, Judaism were born. And the West, despite of all its secularist development, is still a very religious place, where Christianity or the Judeo-Christian heritage is the most important part of its cultural characterization and feature. So I think that that's one reason. Secondly, the West cannot yet, it hasn't found yet a way of dealing with the Holocaust. What everyone thinks about the Holocaust, it doesn't matter. It doesn't know yet how to deal with it. And to that, if you will add what you said, you know, the oil, the influence of the Jewish lobby and Christian Zionism, you have a very good explanation why Israel and Palestine have a disproportional place, of course, compared to other calamities or other areas of evil, if you want, or of conflict in the world. For me, it's not a problem because I come from there and I want the world to be involved there. But I can fully understand why people who would come from other parts of the world would say, what about us? Why don't we get this kind of attention? I would tell them actually that in the case of the Palestinians, that kind of attention did not work in their favor. So they should not necessarily hope for that. Thank you.